Today on the LA Food Podcast, I'm your host Lucas Servodio, and roses are red, violets are blue. We've got a very special Valentine's Day episode for you. Valentine's Day is tomorrow, dear listener, and like a box of chocolates from your office building's custodian, we're here with a surprise gift of an episode, a procrastinator's guide to the perfect Valentine's Day. I'm joined by food reporter Jada Montemarano to talk about how, if you're one of those people who's left their plans to the last minute, you just might be able to still hit a Valentine's Day buzzer beater. We talk tips and tricks for staging the perfect Valentine's Day at home, a few hacks if you're one of those people who insists on taking their beloved out for one of the most cursed nights on the dining calendar, and what you might consider doing if you're one of the single guys or gals prepping for a good old Galentine's bash. There's talk of sushi, Korean barbecue, the most romantic restaurant in Los Angeles, and why Father Sal was present at my first ever Valentine's Day with my now wife. Sending you lots of love, dear listener, because without further ado, it's time to chow down. Joining us today for a very special Valentine's Day bonus episode, we're with food reporter Jada Montemarano. Jada, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. What a fun conversation. I wore Valentine's Day pink for you, so I'm ready.
You really brought out all the stops. You came prepared. I always say this, but my usual co-host, Father Sal, he doesn't come prepared ever, so it's a beautiful change of pace. Thank you.
I try. I got to make it easy for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Jada, where are you calling us from today?
I'm here in Los Angeles. Yeah, finally sunny in Southern California.
I know. Did you survive the atmospheric river?
Barely. I had parents visiting, and whenever they come out here, it always either seems to be June gloom or rain or cold. They never actually enjoy the weather here, and they come from New York where it's cold right now, so I feel bad, but at least the sun is coming back.
That happens to me too. My parents live in Switzerland right now, and every time they come to Los Angeles, it seems like it's always raining or storming or borderline snowing. So I think maybe our parents are just bad luck.
I think so. They bring they bring the bad weather with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. What are your LA stomping grounds? What part of the city are you usually hanging out in?
I'm on the west side. So I used to, when we first moved out here, used to live kind of like in mid LA. And if anybody listening is from the area, you kind of stay in your area because of the traffic. So now that we live on the west side, we definitely hang out in the beach cities, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Venice, kind of this area now. We're beach city people.
Oh yeah, so what does that mean food wise? Where do you gravitate towards?
Ooh, it's always hit or miss. Like, for example, Super Bowl Sunday we just had. Love to eat on Super Bowl Sunday. We had to order Bay City sandwiches right here in Santa Monica. So that was super convenient. Now that we're really close, usually you would have to drive 45 minutes to get it. Now it's about 10, 15, depending on the traffic of the day. So yeah, we just bop around here. Yeah.
How does Bay Cities compare to your East Coast New York sandwiches? Because I know you guys are very particular about those.
We are. It is very close. So we have this place on Staten Island called Pastosa. It's our Italian grocery store where you can get the homemade pasta and sauces and meats and all of that. And Bay Cities, I think, is the closest that I've found out here to that. So it does feel very homey inside. But there are definitely other sandwich places that do come very close to what we get back east. Super Rad Sub Shop. My friend owns it, Shanna, and she's from Queens. She knows all the things, all of her Italian New York recipes, and that is a very good sandwich as well.
I actually just saw your segment on that, and so I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this, I ate 100 different sandwiches in Los Angeles last
Yes.
year,
Yes.
and I didn't even make it to Super Ad because I think it's relatively new. So now that's on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's definitely because it is new. So Shanna owned a pop-up called Picnic, and she
Mhm.
started that years ago, brought it back during the pandemic. That's how I met her. We were doing stories on just changing career paths during the pandemic, like everyone did. And she just now, with her partner Chris, opened Super Rad. So it's brand new, but it's still her recipes that are known to LA if you know her. So you really didn't miss too much. It is new, but definitely get her chicken parm, and the Greco is the similar sandwich to the Godmother at Bay Cities.
All right, the Greco, duly noted. Okay, well, Jada,
Yes.
as you mentioned, as you already alluded to with your pink dress, We're recording this 2
Yes.
days before Valentine's Day, all right? So this is very much the procrastinator's guide to Valentine's Day. When people are listening to this, it's gonna be the 13th of February, very much for our last minutes kings and queens out there. Let's zoom out for a moment. How do you feel in general about Valentine's Day?
I like Valentine's Day. I'm not one of those people that's either really against it or really for it. I know some people have very polarizing opinions about Valentine's Day. I've been with my fiance, Eddie. I'm going to say his name now, Eddie, because I'll probably bring him up a few times talking about Valentine's Day. So, Eddie and I have been together for 10 years. So, I really haven't been alone for too many Valentine's days. So, I think maybe that's why I also like it. But even when I was single, just get together with your girlfriends or your guy friends or whoever you want to hang out with. Buy each other little treats. Me and my friends used to get each other donuts and we would go out for wine. And I think it's just a way to celebrate love of any kind, even if it's platonic or familial. I used to do it with my parents. So I don't know. I like it. And I love
Yeah.
chocolate. So,
That's always a great excuse too. Yeah, I don't really ever I never really got the, like, anti-Valentine's Day sentiment
ah,
either. I've been with my wife now for, like, 8 years or something like that. We're not married that long, but we've been together for that long, and, it's just been crazy to me that, like, every single year you come up with something, you go out, and usually it's a very good experience. Everybody always talked badly about Valentine's Day like it's this Hallmark holiday that's really hard to get right, but honestly, I feel like more often than not, we've nailed it. Of course, this year I do feel like I've dropped the ball a little, and that's why I have you on to help me plan the perfect Valentine's Day, okay? So
I
let me ask
got you. I'll
you.
help you.
Thank you, thank you. Now, are you and Eddie more stay in or go out kind of people?
We're staying people. So the tradition actually started with my parents. I'm an only child, so my dad and mom would always involve me in their Valentine's Day plans, and they were stay-in people. So we would always order sushi or Chinese food and stay in. So when Eddie and I were together, we kind of continued that tradition. We both agreed we can go out to eat all the time. Again, we work in food, we eat all the time, so it's a nice way to stay in. And our tradition is always ordering in sushi. That's what we do, and drink some wine.
Mm, sushi, is that because that's, like, your guys' favorite food, or is it just that's the one time a year you guys go with sushi?
It was no, it was what I did with my parents. So it started out in Chinese food when I was really younger, and then when our palates expanded, we elevated to sushi. So I kind of just kept that tradition. And sushi is really easy to order to go on a busy holiday. You're not going to be able to order from one of the high-end restaurants if you want to stay in on Valentine's Day. They're going to be way too busy. So I think sushi is a nice alternative because there's so many sushi restaurants you can choose from.
Mhm, mhm, that makes sense, especially in Los Angeles, right? So,
Yeah.
what is your best Valentine's Day memory and your worst?
So I was thinking about this before and I asked Eddie that too. I'm like, what's our best and what's our worst? And I think maybe the worst Valentine's days were the ones we didn't get to spend together. We were long distance for a while when we were in college, and then when I moved out to Los Angeles, I was working in Bakersfield for a while as a news reporter and anchor. So we didn't spend too many Valentine's days on the day together. So I'd say that would probably be the worst. And then
That's
the
such a
best
sweet
we came up
answer.
with well, we never really had a bad one. Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I would say the best, just because it was different, was our first Valentine's Day together. We were in college, you know, living on the college budget, but he took me out to a really nice dinner at Smith& Lewinsky's Steakhouse in Boston, where we went to school. And he actually asked me out officially on Valentine's Day, which I told him was cheesy. So I made us make our anniversary February 16th. And that's how I knew he was the one. He let me change our anniversary.
He let you rewrite history in order to not have Valentine's Day be your anniversary.
Yes, I was like, "This is a little too cheesy." Like, again, I'm not anti-Valentine's Day, but it's too on the nose for me, so we changed it.
Well, it's also nice because now you get 2 celebrations, not just the one, right? Otherwise, it would have been one and done Valentine's Day. Now you guys get to have 2 very special celebrations 2 days apart.
Yes, we usually do. Valentine's Day, we'll stay in, and then usually on our anniversary, because it's not such a busy day, we'll do our, like, out to eat or something like that, so it's nice, we get both.
Yeah, I love that for you. Yeah, we typically have gone out for Valentine's Day as well. There were obviously when I think of the worst Valentine's Days we've ever had, it's probably like the pandemic ones, where it's like
Mm,
just like trying as hard as you can at home to like make it special. I think one year I made my wife her the spicy vodka fusilli from John and Vinny's just to
Mhm.
like make it feel like we were out at a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
But, even then, you the world is, like, burning outside you because it's the pandemic, so you're kinda, like, eating
Yeah.
the food, but it doesn't taste all that good knowing there's, like, people outside, not doing so well. But since then, we've really made it a point to, like, go out. Let's go out to a place we wanna go, you know, we've kind of found the sweet in between of like not going to a hot spot where it's going to be really, really busy and trying to go to like a wine bar where it might be like a little more low key, but it's
Hmm.
still like romantic. You can have some wine, you can have some cheese, and you can get sort of those like date vibes, right? So that's typically how we slice and dice things. But that can get dicey because wine bars don't often take reservations. So
It's hard when the places don't make reservations for the last minute people listening. That's when it becomes easy because there's no worry with it. But yeah, then you may be waiting for 2 hours. But if you're at a wine bar, just drink a bottle of wine while you wait.
exactly. That's a good thing. You can get drunk while you wait. So let's first give a hand to our friends out there who are planning a last minute stay at home Valentine's Day, okay? So very much in your ilk. What are some key food moves one can create in order to make it the ideal V-Day conditions at home?
Okay, so I think I have 2 ways. Either do what I do and order sushi, and one year I made it into like a little cute heart. The other
Oh,
idea is kind of along the lines of what you did is cook at home. We're always so busy, and I feel like usual dinners during the week maybe are something quick, or if you try to stay healthy and you're just eating kind of the mundane. But if you're going to make it special at home, I would say maybe cook, maybe make pizza together. You can make a heart-shaped pizza. I love doing that. One year, Eddie made lamb chops for me and raviolis and stuff like that. I feel like that's fun. Just anything to elevate it. Light some candles, get some wine, as I've been mentioning. And I feel like doing it at home really, I don't think it's a procrastinators because I do
mm.
it. So I think if you do it right and you plan it well, I don't think anyone would know a difference.
Well, that you bring up the key point that you have planned it. So you're not the procrastinator. Like you've already
Yeah.
bought the ingredients for pizza, you know that you're gonna make it in a hard shape, or you've already got your sushi spot on speed dial, so you
You
know
could do it the
exactly what's
day
coming
of,
up.
though. You could go shopping in the morning. Your
That's
significant
actually a
other,
good tip.
partner, whoever you're impressing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look, okay, so let's say this, right? If you wanna be making a pizza at home, maybe you can make it special by going to, like, your favorite pizza shop and being like, "Hey, can you hook me up with some dough or something that I can make at home and make it into a heart shape or something like that?" I think for me, it's all about, like, the little things you do to, like, go the extra mile.
I agree. One year, Eddie really likes donuts, so I made him a Krispy Kreme donut bouquet, and I just got sticks, like the skewers, and put donuts in it and, like, wrapped it with a, tissue paper. And that
Mm.
took me 5 seconds, and you can get Krispy Kreme at the grocery store these days. So, I think for me, we don't do anything crazy, we don't go all out, but it's more about just knowing what the person likes. Like, I'll always get Reese's Hearts. Eddie knows Reese's is my favorite candy. He knows I'm not a flower girl, so he doesn't really ever get me flowers. I think if you just know the person you're trying to impress, then that's all that matters.
Why are you not a
Easy.
flower girl?
I have really bad allergies,
Oh,
so we never really have flowers in the house, like, even growing up, and, they die. I'd rather eat.
100%. Me too. I mean, I'm not a flower girl myself, so chocolate every time. So where are you guys ordering sushi from this year?
Ooh, we didn't get that far. Usually, we'll just go on one of the apps and just pick a place. Yeah, we're never
Yeah.
picky about which location or where we order from.
Yeah, it's more about the act, the ritual.
Yeah, it's more of the tradition at this point of just that's what we do, that's what we eat.
So I think we've sorted it out already for the, folks who are staying at home. Basically, guys, if you're staying at home, it's not that hard, just put some thought into it. I think you bring up something really good, which is I think a lot of times people are just trying to do what they think
Mm.
is quote unquote "romantic" without actually taking the other person into, like, consideration, right? So, always start from the place of just what would this person like? Because it's all good and well if you think it's quote unquote "romantic," but if you're giving Jada a bunch of flowers, she's gonna be sneezing the entire night.
Exactly. It's really just knowing about the person, and that's what is the most romantic is when you know the little things about the person that you what they love, what they don't love, and that's what's special. So, pro tip.
What if okay, I just thought of a different wrench though. So we've obviously been with our respective partners quite a while. What if you're like
Yes.
early on in the game, right? Like, first of all, how early in a relationship or in a sort of like dating cycle is it too
Hmm.
early to like invite someone over or ask someone out for a Valentine's Day meal?
I am the worst person to ask because I've only ever done Valentine's days with Eddie at this point because I was in college and then high school where it doesn't really count. So I'm the bad person to ask about dating tips. But I would say, just personally, I wouldn't want to go to someone's house if I didn't know them very well. So I wouldn't do that early on. And I think if you are dating someone and you're serious about them, you should know little things about them to at least know if you should get them a candy, if you should get them flowers. I think if you are with someone, you should do something
Yeah.
for Valentine's Day because nothing is worse than getting ignored on Valentine's Day.
I sort of did did something which may not be advisable with my wife then like just girl I was seeing. Um It was we started dating and we'd only seen each other, like, a couple times, like, we weren't even, like we didn't put a label on it or anything, and, Valentine's Day was approaching, and I was really in my head about whether it was like, "Oh, should I ask her out on Valentine's Day or not?" I kinda don't wanna send a message that I'm not interested, but I also don't wanna freak her out, right? So, what I ended up doing, interestingly, is I invited her over to dinner, and at the time, I was living with, podcast co-host Father Sal, and I was like, "Hey, you wanna come over for dinner? My roommate is gonna be there, so it's gonna be pretty chill." So, it was basically like a, invite to hang, at the house,
Mhm.
and I made dinner for both of them. I sort of, like, made dinner for my life partner, Father Saul, and her as well. And I think she's never actually told me what she thought of that move, but I like to think she thought it was sort of like charmingly goofy or something like that.
Yeah, I think you need to get her on the podcast and ask her her real opinion of what she thought of that back then. But looking now in hindsight, I guess that's how you both knew you were the one because it wasn't weird to either of you. So, and she
Yeah.
went.
Yeah. Well, Jada, my wife will never come on this podcast, but that's wishful thinking, okay? Let's talk for a moment about the people who insist on going out. They've heard all of the reasons for staying in, they've heard your tips, they've heard, my experiences. Where do you think people should go if they insist on going out, especially if they are procrastinators and they don't yet have a reservation for the big day?
Okay, so I was racking my brain about this. There's a couple things you can do. One, just go on Open Table and type in Valentine's Day and type in two people, and you're going to see who has reservations left. Surprisingly, before this, I did check. A lot of restaurants do have times left. Some
Hmm.
of them are either like 9 p.m. or 4 p.m., but there were some places that did have reservations all night. So there is some luck left for that. But if you want to do something a little different, I was actually thinking one year on my birthday, we went to Italy, and in the
Hmm.
front of Italy is the marketplace, not the actual restaurant. And they allow you to drink in the marketplace. So you buy a bottle of wine, you walk around, you peruse, you can get a sandwich, you can get handmade pasta, you can get a charcuterie board, and make your own little date night experience. And it's a little more interactive as well. I think that's a great idea. Going to Korean barbecue, most
Hmm.
places in LA don't take reservations anyway, and you usually have to wait a long time. So that could be something fun. So I think you think outside the box, but if you want to do Old Faithful, a regular restaurant reservation, there are some left. Just do it yesterday.
Yeah, serious well, okay, those are 2 really exciting ideas, by the way. I have thoughts on both of them, though, the Italy one
Okay.
and the Koreatown one, okay? Or the sorry,
Yes.
Korean barbecue. Italy one sounds incredible. I think that that is an early in the game like, it's better for an early in the game Valentine's Day, and here's why. I feel like
Yeah.
I can definitely see that in, like, a rom-com where it's like,
Hmm.
hey, you just wanna go peruse the market with a bottle of wine, walk around and talk, and then you can kinda, like, if you wanna keep window shopping around Century City, you can, like, walk around, go check out the other offerings that are there for maybe dessert or, like, I don't know, if you're someone who likes to go into, Zara and People Watch or whatever. that's an option too, right? I think that that's a really good one for early on in the game because there's so many options and you can sort of do whatever based on feeling out how it's going. The Koreatown, or I'm sorry, the Korean barbecue one, I think that is an advanced recommendation. Advanced. Like you got to really know the person for that one. And that's because you always walk out of that place looking like or smelling like a campfire, right? You always walk
And you're
and not only
so full. I guess it's not very romantic, but it's more for fun.
well, it's not romantic for everybody. Certainly romantic for someone like me, but, like, who just enjoys eating, and honestly, like, I love going out with my partner and just, like, us both kind of, like, just, like, going
Yep.
in on something together. It feels like we're experiencing, like, something very primal, which I love, but, like, not for everybody. I could definitely see
Yeah.
people taking their second date or third date to a Valentine's Day Korean barbecue, and that being the answer when somebody is later asked on a podcast, "What was your worst Valentine's Day of all time?"
Well, I know it would be our favorite Valentine's Day, so that's why I thought of it, because Eddie's the same way as me. We love to eat. That's one of our favorite things to do together. But I do agree with that. You were talking about doing things early on with people and what is comfortable or not. You brought your now wife home, but I think Italy, yeah, for a new couple, and then maybe Korean barbecue for an old couple. And there's something else I want to throw in there. Too late for this year, but it's a little fun fact. So, Barrique in Venice is an Italian restaurant, and one year it was named the most romantic restaurant in the country. I
Hmm.
actually did a story on it. I interviewed the owner and the chef of how they feel about that for Valentine's Day. I checked, there's no reservations for Valentine's Day this year, but keep it in mind for next year. Write it on a list. It has really good food too.
Who voted it most romantic restaurant in the US?
I forget if it was maybe Yelp or one of those like aggregator sites where you can write the reviews, maybe TripAdvisor. It was a few years ago, so
Mhm,
I can't
mhm.
remember exactly, but it was.
Fair enough. Well, I feel like that is probably where a lot of people end up because they just Google, like, most romantic restaurant in Los
Yep.
Angeles, and Barrique comes up, so it's not bad, not bad from the Barrique's point of view in terms of
Right?
selling out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there's no reservations left, so they're doing
Yeah.
something right.
Yeah, they're sold. Okay, obviously, you've let us know you've been with Eddie for a while now. I've been with my wife Morgan for a while now. So neither of us have been able to celebrate a Galentine's, whether you celebrate that with gals or guys, right, or both. What do you think in general about Galentine's? And if you were to celebrate Galentine's this year, or being asked where should we go for Galentine's, where would you tell people to go on a night like that?
I think for me, if one, I was single and just getting together with my friends to do something, you want to do something fun. Either go to a bar, go to a wine bar, like you were saying, go to a Mexican restaurant where you can just get big margaritas and you get the quesadillas and the tacos and all of that. I think you just want to do something that's a fun atmosphere. I did check on Open Table. Pink Taco has a bunch of reservations left, and usually Mexican restaurants don't do the prefix meal, so it's definitely something that it's not more of the traditional date option. Rooftop bars in LA are fun. I think Galentine's is all about just having the most fun, maybe even Korean barbecue with a big table.
That's where Korean barbecue comes in. Absolutely.
Yes.
And you know what's even better about that is you can end the night at karaoke, especially if you're doing it in
Very
Koreatown.
true.
And I feel like
Yes.
that would make for the ideal Galentine's Day because either way, right? You can sing like girls just want to have fun if you just want to be like, we don't even care about not being about being single, or you can go out there and sing really sad love songs, about why you might be single. So I kind of think, you're onto something with that one.
Yeah, now the more that I think about it, it's just like, let's just go to Korean barbecue this weekend. I just wanna go now.
Yeah, you've really, really gotten everyone in the mood, especially
I'm
myself,
selling
for
it.
Korean barbecue. Yeah. Are you, like, working for Big Korean Barbecue or something?
I think so. I think you caught me.
Yeah, yeah, you're in the pocket. All right, Jada. Well, this has been very, very helpful for everybody listening to the podcast, like myself, who has doesn't have quite the firmest Valentine's Day plans that they've ever had. So, thank you very much for joining us. I want to know though, you're a food reporter in Los Angeles. I'm always curious when I talk to food reporters about what is their favorite story they've ever done. What's yours?
Oh, that is so hard. I have been working in LA for over 5 years, and I've interviewed a lot of restaurants and a lot of owners, and I don't know if I have a favorite story, but I think something that I kind of took away from being a reporter during these kind of tumultuous years of the pandemic when restaurants were shut down and just seeing the community come together in such a way of every restaurant owner and chef were helping each other out. And I think the most rewarding stories were the ones where chefs were working at restaurants, were laid off from their jobs, started their own pop-ups, and now have brick and mortars from that and were able to
Hmm.
change their career paths completely. I've mentioned Super Rad Sub Shop before. She's just one example of many places that I've done stories on of that. So I know it's hard. It's kind of a lame cop out answer, but I think those were the most interesting stories to me, were to see how people really the pandemic pivot. That's really what happened. And now they're successful businesses doing something they weren't doing before. So you have to kind of look for the little nugget of positives out of that really bad situation. So I think that may be the most interesting stories to me.
No, that's really cool, and I not a cop out at all. I think that is one of the most interesting things that we've seen in Los Angeles dining, like, in the last 3, 4 years, is seeing, like, all of
Yep.
those, like, seedlings of idea that popped up during the pandemic now begin to, like, flourish into some real concepts, like, Little Fish opening in Echo Park, which was a pop-up, and then Poltergeist, Diego Argotti, he started as a pop-up in an alleyway making, like, weird, hot dog ramen and stuff, and now he's, like, nominate or semi-finalist for a James Beard Award. Like, it's some really exciting things. And so, I don't think that's a cop out at all. You did mention, however, that you also lived in Bakersfield. And, we've talked about the Bay Area on this podcast. We've talked about different parts of California. We've not really touched on the Central Valley very much. What do you remember most fondly about Bakersfield's cuisine?
So what was really interesting is, when was I there? 2017. Um, when I first moved there, everyone was like, it's just chain restaurants. It's not a booming food city. Just get used to it. I was getting warned, especially, I'm from New York. I went to school in Boston. I've only ever been in major cities. So this was my first time kind of moving to somewhere that was not a huge city. But what was so cool to me was I was there during a time where every week a new restaurant was opening. There was
Mm.
vegan food coming, there was burger bars, there were rooftops opening, a food truck scene was emerging. So I think that was really interesting. I think what ended up happening was a lot of people moved out of either LA or the Bay Area when places get too expensive, especially to open a business. I mean, real estate in LA is very expensive for restaurants. So I think people wanted to start their own businesses and move up there. It's only an hour and a half away. So the food scene in Bakersfield actually really did grow. I don't know exactly what it looks like now. It's probably only even gotten bigger, honestly. I still keep up with a lot of my contacts from there and see on social media. So it really is a better food scene, I think, than people would expect. It's also a really great brewery scene. They have
Hmm.
so many breweries that have good pub food. So if you want to go up and do a brewery tour for a day, I know Tembler Brewery always has comedians there, even big names. So I think Bakersfield is an underrated food city now.
I'm in. I'm all in. Would you ever move back?
No, I think I love the city atmosphere too much. Even kind
Mhm.
of moving to the west side in LA isn't as city as I love. So I think for me, I have to be in a major city with a lot of people to feel, I don't know. I'm a loud, crazy personality, so I need that vibe around me.
I hear you. I hear you. The quiet life isn't for everybody. That's totally
Not for
understandable.
me.
Well, Jada, I wish you a happy Valentine's Day to you and Eddie. I hope you guys enjoy your sushi. And for our listeners who are new to you, who are looking to find you on social media, where can they find you?
So all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, I guess X now, if anybody even uses it, I just scroll. I'm at Jada Montemarano. And then speaking of Eddie, big food person, he's in media as well. We actually restarted our food vlog called Our Cheat Day. So we officially brought that back last week. It's something we started before I got my first job. And then obviously, when you're working in the news and we're long distance, we couldn't do it anymore, but we're picking it back up. And we do the best places to eat when you want to cheat. So your cheat meals for your 80-20 lifestyle. So we do fast food fads and trends. We just did the Subway footlong cookie we had to try.
Oh,
And we're
wow.
doing something for Valentine's Day this week as well. So stay tuned for that. That's our cheat day on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
That's so exciting. What kind of things have you done in the past?
So when we first started it, we actually did it on Staten Island. So we both are from Staten Island, New York. So we were doing it from home and we were going to our favorite Italian place. There was this burger place called Corzo Club that was a wrapped dough burger that was fried, which was really cool. And then now that we're bringing it back here in LA, we just did Prince Street Pizza, which is our favorite pizza spot here. So we had to bring a little bit of New York to our LA travels. And then, like I mentioned, the Subway cookie. And this week, you're going to see something Valentine's Day related. So stay tuned.
I'm excited. Well, we'll put it all in the show notes. And as I said, happy Valentine's to both you and Eddie. Jada, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy Valentine's Day for you and your wife as well. And get some candy and flowers for her if she's a flower girl.
Literally leaving right now. Thanks for listening to a bonus episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guest, Jada Montemarano, for making the time to speak with us and for giving us all her amazing Valentine's Day tips and tricks. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating, a review, subscribe if you should be so inclined. Seriously, that really helps us make our way up the charts on both Spotify and Apple. We'll be back on Friday with another very special episode, but if you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at the LA Countdown. That's TheLaCountdown. You can also find us on Instagram at LA Food Pod. That's LAFOODPOD.